Where are we again? Hello, guys. This is Aggie and Monica, and thank you for listening to us. This is our first podcast episode. We are really excited about it. So, our name is Where Are We Again? And we are going to talk about traveling mostly and expat life, living abroad, and stuff like that. So, my name is Monica, and I am from Hungary originally. I lived in Budapest, and 1.5 year ago, we moved to Mauritius with my husband and 2 kids. And with Agi, we know each other since, well, I think more than 10 years, almost 15 years, we can say. We met at multinational company. We worked together. And since then, we became friends and we are traveling together a lot. So when I give Agi to you the word, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello guys, hello everyone. Yeah, so my name is Agi and Agnes actually. Agi is my nickname. I'm always open to call me anything you wish. So yes, I'm also Hungarian, and as Monica said, we met in Budapest, and I actually left a few years after we met. We left Hungary, or I left Hungary. I left alone, first to Germany, just for a short time, and then I moved after that to the UK, to London, to follow love. And I think after 4.5 years, I left London and decided to move to a more chilled country, Denmark. So I'm in the Nordics now. And yes, my background is also this corporate world. So finance, very exciting area. And we are traveling, as Monica mentioned, every year to meet each other. So we always try to pick a new country to see the world while we also catch up with each other. And it's actually not just the two of us. We are actually a group of girls. We meet on a regular basis. And yeah, we love traveling. And I think that's why we started this podcast to share learnings and experiences we have. And just to let out the joy. I think it's also a great way for us to connect with each other. Like we live on the other side of the world. So yeah, that's a very great opportunity for us to do. Yes. So as a start, we were discussing that we should what should be our first podcast, and why not start with some practicalities and around moving to abroad. Um, while for people like us, it's quite almost a natural step. Quite an easy step to do. It can be quite a big step for those who haven't moved abroad yet, but they have some curiosity to move abroad and just see another culture or world. So
Yeah,
first question I would
maybe
yeah is like
maybe some of you guys.
yeah go on.
Sorry, you go on.
So the
No,
first question I would ask, like, what would be the reason you would move abroad? Um, because you need to have some good reasons to do that. I think you need to know what you want. I wouldn't just want to land in a whatever place without knowing what I'm gonna get. So when you moved to Mauritius, Monica, or before you moved to Mauritius, what was your, priorities that it had to take before you moved to a place?
yeah, actually, you can have a lot of reason for moving, or yeah, for example, for money, or you want to have international experience at work, or you just want to have a higher standard of living, or just you want an adventure. So you can have a lots of different reasons for moving abroad. Well, for us, actually, it was kind of an unexpected move. My husband got a job in Mauritius, and that's why we moved here. But before, we were like always talking about, okay, we should move abroad. First of all, for me, it was also international experience with like moving or working for an international company abroad, and also for the kids, it's a big opportunity to learn a foreign language.
I remember you
So
guys were hesitating over this since such a long time. Like almost
yeah,
like 10
yes,
years
and
ago, you were already considering, should we move abroad?
yes, I was always
Yeah,
planning. It was just like, oh, okay, but we have the family and we have the friends there, so it's hard to make the first step,
yeah.
because like, oh, we're gonna miss family and our friends,
Mm,
and also it's hard. You need to leave your current job,
mm.
your current house or apartment. So of course it's a big decision, and I always wanted to go, and my husband was like more like, oh, let's stay in Hungary because we have our life here. And but actually I was looking around in Europe, so
Mhm.
I was thinking about Austria
Yeah,
or um,
I remember.
Netherlands, something like more like, which is closer to
Yeah,
Hungary. But at the end we ended up on the other side of the world, which is funny. And then through my husband,
yeah.
who was the one who was like hesitating, who didn't want to move, and then he came up with this idea, or this, yeah, they're like, okay, let's move to Mauritius. I get a job. Do you want to go or not? It's like, okay, let's do
And
it.
it always helps if you have someone else who is in the area, right? Or who already did that step because his good friend moved a year or two before, right? So he had some kind of motivation to go that, okay, I'm going to have someone there
Yes.
who I know. And
Yeah, we had some friends
yeah,
here, so we knew they were talking about it. They were like, we knew some information, so it was not yeah, completely new, but still it was a big decision.
I remember the first time when this common friend kind of moved to Mauritius, and the first time when he moved out there, and he kind of advertised this job that, hey, anyone is interested to come work in Mauritius. I remember I was just for 1 second I was like, oh my god, I would move in 1 second. But it's again, it's the same like commitment here. I have a boyfriend. He has a daughter. She's small. She's still studying, so we cannot just kind of leave everything behind and leave. But it was just like wow, spark idea.
Yeah, yeah, for us also, like, I was thinking about our kids. They are like 7 and 9 now, but that we have to take out from school, and
Yeah.
it's a big change. For they had their friends
Mm.
there, so it's also, you have to think it over.
Were they crying when you
um,
announced them that, hey guys, we're gonna move to the other side of the
no, actually it was funny because we were not sure that we were coming, because it was still under the interviewing
world?
process.
Yeah.
So I just asked randomly the girls, like, oh, would you like to live somewhere where it's always sunny and there are palm trees and there is an ocean? And they were like, yeah, yes, we would love that. But they didn't know. They didn't know. It was just,
Yeah.
random question.
Good way to start
So
it.
they were excited. And even like, okay, when we already knew that he got the job, my husband got the job. So when we told them, actually, they were really excited. They were not crying. I think they were really smart to realize how far we were gonna go, and that it means that, okay, they're gonna see the family, the grandparents, only once a year, and also they have to say goodbye to their friends. So
Mm.
at that point, they I don't think they realized
Mhm,
it.
yeah.
But even later on, they were happy about it. Sometimes, of course, when like we are talking about family, and then, or they are saying, oh, I miss grandma, I miss grandpa,
Mm,
it's normal, of course.
yeah.
But nowadays you can just call them,
Yeah, video
via Messenger, WhatsApp, and you
yeah,
can talk to them. And also, they are coming to visit. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And how?
So, what do you think? Maybe some of the listeners are hesitating at the moment. Okay, shall I move abroad or shall I stay home? Uh, what advice can you give it to them? What can they think
Yeah, so
about?
I would definitely think about like what is my ultimate long-term plan in my life. You know, if you stay young, um, what is what is that I want to achieve? Do I want to, as you mentioned, maybe improve my career, get something on my CV? I want to make new friends, foreign friends. I want to see the world. I want to learn or study abroad. I would definitely think about, first of all, considering make sure you have some kind of language background or willing to learn new language at least. And and I would definitely think about like doing some research about the country you pick. Yeah, again, pick a country which is in line with your expectations. How the country system works, how is the culture there, how is the weather there. Make sure you pick a country which you can accept, because I think it's also very hard to get a full package that you say, okay, I'm fully happy with everything, it's perfection. You will probably have to compromise in some areas. So you need to decide what is that what you would compromise in. Like I definitely had to compromise in weather.
Yes, definitely.
Denmark is one of the greatest place to be. I love Copenhagen. I think it's an amazing city. But the weather is definitely was a bit of a challenge, especially in the beginning. You know, long winters, darkness, gray. It's you really need to have your tricks and ways to get through the winter time. Um, so yeah, just be clear with what you expect. But at the same time, for example, Denmark gives so many good things apart from the weather, like a very good stable system. Life is very calm. They are quite family oriented. Here you really work to live and not the other way around. A lot of the other countries, especially also Hungary, I think it's a place like you live to work. It's all about work and it's
Yeah,
extremely demanding.
that's so true.
And private life is always a secondary priority in life. While here, I would say private life is first priority, and I haven't been in any work here where they would have said that if your daughter has something important in school or something is happening with family, that they would say you are not allowed to go even if it's during a working day. Like it's extremely flexible to make sure it fits to your family life, which I think an extremely great value and very unique, I would say, in the world. So I love,
Yeah, usually northern countries has this work-life balance is very important for them.
yeah.
But Eastern Europe and Central Europe, not very much. It's all about work, work, work.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, it also has its like, I think, where we came from, like extremely demanding place. You really get very good professionally, I would say. So I think we have a bit of an advantage in a way that I think we get very good. And I may have some bias here, but I think we get very good at what we are doing, whatever we decide that we want to do in life, and we are hard workers, and that definitely pays off when you move to a country like, for example, Denmark, where or any other Western countries where there is it's not it's demanding, but it's not that demanding as we have in Hungary. It's very different. It's if you really put the same effort you did in Hungary, you really can achieve a lot. I would always encourage people, because I met with some people who, when you move to another country, especially when you move from the east to the west, yeah, or from a developing country to a developed country, you're not as confident maybe to believe that they would hire you in your own profession just because you're not from there, and maybe you don't have the address yet in the country or you don't have contact details yet in the country. Why would they pick me? I would definitely would say that don't be afraid to apply for jobs which are the same professional level as you have it in your own country, because I see that the Western world is extremely open to find talents, and they will give you the same opportunity as others. And if you have the knowledge, then you can get that job. So be brave to apply. Um, and then how is it with you, Monica? Because now you moved out because of your husband, right? And you didn't have a job in the beginning. So what is your career move there? Like, what's going on? Tell them a bit about it, because that's also a very different change, right? So what is your uh,
Yes, actually, we talked about it before we moved here, uh, because we knew that we are not sure that I was gonna able to get a job here, because here you have to have a occupational permit, um, and also the schedule of the school, it's a bit different than we used to in Hungary.
what is the
So
schedule of the school?
they finish.
How is it different?
Uh, they finish really early the school. They don't really have aftercare,
Ah,
and you have to pick them up early, like around 2 o'clock. And they have a half day. All Wednesdays are half day at school, so you have to pick them up before
and what is
lunch.
half day? Or before lunch? Oh,
Yes, it's 12 o'clock. You have to pick them up at 12. So it's quite hard if you want to work, and pick up your kids. So
well,
many people here, or you either have a
mm,
nanny who pick up your kids,
yeah.
or you have a chauffeur,
Okay.
um, or you have to have a very, very flexible job,
Mm,
or if you are an entrepreneur, you have your own company. Obviously, you're more flexible and you can do it.
yeah.
But I know many moms who are just taking care of the
Mm,
kids, because it's quite different from what we used to in Europe.
mm,
Um, so well, we knew that okay, it's not gonna be easy. So still I'm not working, but well, I started to searching for job opportunities, so we will see about it. But yeah, I need to find something super flexible, or maybe a part-time job, so I can take care of the kids.
mm,
So if you are planning to move with kids and family, it's you have to consider
mm,
also this, that maybe in the country they have different school system. Like I was surprised that
mm,
it can work like that, and people live here and somehow they can figure it out
mm, yeah.
to work at the same time and pick up their kids.
Yeah.
So but here in Mauritius, it's the local people. They live like big family. They live together.
Mm.
So I guess they have help. They have the grandparents, the sisters, brothers.
Ah, yeah.
So this is how they can do it.
Yeah.
But of course, for us,
Yeah.
we don't have family here, so it's a bit harder.
Mm,
But yeah, you can figure it out if you want. So
mm,
yeah.
yeah. And then, because now your life is going to shift a bit, because in case you would start to work, right? Because we can talk about like, okay, you decided to move abroad, you're there, you don't know anyone, you're completely new, maybe you even have a language barrier. What are you doing to integrate yourself? Like, how do you start? I think you have some good examples you did, especially that you didn't start at work. So that normally a good way to start socializing and making friends. But when you don't have a job at the beginning, what do you do?
Yeah, it was extremely hard for me. I'm a really like social person, so and yeah, and we moved, and my husband, yeah, he goes to the office every day, so he has his coworkers, and the kids are at school, so they have the classmates, friends there.
Mm,
But for me, I was at home alone,
mm,
so at the beginning it was very hard. I didn't know anyone, well, except our Hungarian friends here. But then I joined some expat groups on Facebook and WhatsApp, and I like sports, so I started to play beach volleyball. This is how I met many people, and also I started to play paddle. So, and of course at school also I started to get to know the other moms. The kids have played it, so I could meet the parents and talk to the other mothers. So you have to make an effort when you move abroad and you wanna have new friends and integrate yourself. You have to make an effort and search for opportunities to join a community. It's a good way to meet people if you have a hobby, like you like sports or crafts or anything, and then you can just, yeah, on the internet you can find all these groups. You can just join and go there and meet new people.
Yeah.
This is how you can do it. So
Yeah, I had the same actually when I moved to Denmark. I didn't really know anyone, and well, there were some different ways. One is that I moved in the beginning with a local girl, um, and I also joined to these Facebook groups, which actually, yeah, it gives you a lot of good information. But it was not the way for me actually to find good friends. I actually joined today's, not to advertise, but this expat group called Internations. So I went to some of the events, and again, it really depends on who is in the moment there on that particular event. If you really click with the person, because it's not that easy to click with a person, right? Like you meet with so many people, and
especially at our age,
yeah, exactly.
because for my kids it was so easy to find friends.
Yeah, it's
I couldn't believe it.
it's not easy. And actually, I think after some time, I met on this one of these internations even, and I remember I went there and I was like, oh, it's really not for me. It's like you really, really, as you said, have to try hard. Like you have to put all the effort to be open, to meet with other people and put the energy to ask questions. You know, when you don't know anyone or when you don't know the other person, it's a bit hard to initiate conversations. Like you don't have any history. So what do you ask? You just ask the basics. Where are you from? What are you doing? And you're hoping that at some point, you know, somehow you click. So you continue on. But I met with a girl there. I remember we just randomly sat next to each other and she just said, I said, hi, I'm from Hungary. She's like, yeah, I'm from Lithuania. And then she's like, you're from Hungary? Oh, I studied in Hungary. I was like, really? Okay. So, okay, there is one connection there. Great. And then when we were about to leave, we figured we were living in the same area. It's like, I live in Stockholm, and yeah, let's move. Yeah, I'm living next to it. So we went home together and we were chatting. And then actually we figured that we were quite similar. So it was like kind of match made in heaven. I would say like we were very easily clicked. And I remember COVID came afterwards. So I flew back to Hungary to visit family, and I kind of stuck there for quite some time. For I don't even remember, like 4 or 5 months at least. So we didn't meet for 4 or 5 months. But then after I went back to Denmark, it's we met again. That hey, I'm back. Do you want to catch up? And we catch up, and then it just went from there. Like we met quite often, and yeah, we had also like she was also an expat, you know, living abroad, and she was also kind of lonely in a way that she was quite new. We actually moved almost the same time to Denmark, so yeah, she's yeah very nice girl. And then through her, I got to know another girl as well. So that also helps. Once you get to know one person, you are clicking well, then it will open the door for meeting new people as well. But I did the same. I also did some sports, same beach volley and um, I don't even remember. Through some of these activities, I got to know a lot of people, and of course, the Danish girl I was living together with, I kind of got to know her and her group of friends. So you have, yeah, you get a lot of people around you, and I think that's what is important in the beginning. So you kind of can sense, which kind of group of people or which type of people you can kind of continue on for the longer term to build relationship, kind of connection with each other. But yeah, it was a lot of effort, and yeah, it takes time to really figure out. Yeah.
And what about language barriers? I mean, I know in Denmark, I think people speak really good English, so maybe for you it was not a problem. But you started to learn Danish for some reason, so I guess it's easier. Life is easier if you know the local language. No?
Definitely, definitely easier. Yeah, and I have to say, um, I went to language courses, and again after COVID, it kind of stopped, which is a bit sad because I really like that group. But our class kind of ended for some reason. The institution changed a bit due to COVID. So I'm kind of, I would say I understand a lot of things, and also it depends on who is talking, because some people I can very easily understand, and some people I really struggle to understand. Um, and sometimes when you get, and my boyfriend is Danish, right? So I met a Danish man and we fall in love, and with his family, when we have family events, of course, everyone speaks Danish. So if I really, it's a bit of a mental thing. Like really, I have to focus on focusing on what they're saying to really understand the topic, and of course, I'm not going to be as active chit chatter because simply my Danish is just not in that level yet. Um, and to be honest, a lot of times I just speak English because I just find it easier. I shouldn't. It's it's not the best way to learn a language, but uh, it is not easy, but it is kind of needed if you really want to be part of, like those family conversations. I cannot expect, everyone to speak English all the time just because of me. So I really should put in the effort to get better there. So it helps definitely to learn, even if they speak English. I would suggest everyone, if you go to a country where they speak another language, try and learn it because it helps so much with everyday life as well. Um, but yeah, it is tough, and sometimes even I'm like pacing out a bit. Like what are they talking talking now? Especially if they switch the topic, which I'm not my main interest, then I kind of pace out a bit, and you almost get sleepy because when you are having all this noise background, which is not your language, and it would really require such a big focus to get what they're talking about. You just pace out, and but yeah, language.
Yeah, same with me. I started to learn French here
Mm,
because most of the people speak French, and their local language, it's called Creole, and it's really similar to French. So they speak much better French than English. So I'm still struggling trying to learn a language, but I felt, when they are talking and I don't understand, because many and there are many French people here from France. So when they talk, and I don't like this feeling that I don't
mm,
understand what they are talking
yeah.
about. It's annoying. And so I felt, okay, I have to learn the language so I can understand. Okay, now at least, okay, I cannot really speak. I'm too shy to speak, but at least when they talk, I can understand. And it's a good feeling that they are talking and I can understand it.
Yeah,
It's You don't feel that like an outsider, because yeah, when they talk in a foreign language and you don't understand anything, you feel like an
yeah.
outsider. So I think it's worth to put an effort and try to learn at least a basic level, so you understand more or less.
Yeah, sometimes I have this little head. I'm not anymore actually, but in the beginning I had this little talk in my head that, like, what the hell am I doing here? Why am I making my life so hard? Like, oh my God, like it's just so not easy. So yeah, if you decide to move abroad, you're gonna have this noise in your head, I think, from time to time, like, what the hell? What am I doing? But to be honest, like you will get through it, and it's good. So I kind of had this from time to time. It's like, oh my God, this would be just so much easier just to, go back, or, just living. When I lived in the UK, it was a bit simpler because at least everyone spoke English. Even though in England, in the beginning, I remember that English, or the British English, was a bit tough to
Yeah, the
understand.
accent. What are you saying? Mm, I
Um,
know. Yeah.
but keep up. I think, and that's another thing I would say, right, for before you decide to move abroad, that kind of prepare yourself that you're going to have these challenges, sorting out your papers, all the admin stuff, sorting out your housing, sorting out work, and then make sure you get friends. So, and just figuring out, basic things like pharmacies, doctors, stuff like that. Um, it's gonna be tough. I'm not gonna lie about it. I think,
Yeah, the first few months it's
yeah,
tough. You need to figure out everything. Everything is different. Yeah, even just to find
yeah.
a supermarket or pharmacy or your favorite yogurt, you missing your favorite yogurt and like, oh no.
Exactly. Like
So,
understand. Like you have 15 different type of meals. Like what the hell? Which one? Which one do I want? What's the difference? Like such little things. But yeah,
yeah, like first when we came here and then I went to the supermarket and then I realized that everything is in French. Like all the
yeah,
labels and
exactly.
everything on it's like, okay, I don't know what it is. Everything is on French. Okay. I cannot do the shopping.
Yeah, I remember I had
So,
sometimes like just simply because they package certain products in a different way. Like I was searching for ages just to find it's like where the hell is this, and then I found, and of course a lot of the times when you ask someone, because here the supermarkets are filled with students, a lot of students are working there, and of course they will have no clue about most of the things. So of course a lot of the times when I ask them, they have no clue, and I just kind of gave up, and I was like, I was trying to Google, how is the packaging looks in that country, because some of the things are quite different. And yeah, you need to, yeah, you
yeah,
need
and then you
to,
have your favorite
yeah,
brand and you are looking for that brand, but maybe it's not available in that country. And then
yeah. I remember in
it
the
doesn't
beginning,
feel good.
I traveled sometimes to Sweden to get my lingerie products because the brand was not here, and I was like, I want that Italian lingerie brand. It's like, how can it not be in Denmark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so, and then one more thing, I think we should first mention, if the first time you're gonna travel abroad or move abroad, especially when you're young, is how to prepare financially, right? Because it may be that you have some good savings, it may be that your parents can support you, but I think in general you have to prepare that when you move to another place, you need to make sure you do a little research about, if you want to rent your first place, how much you have to pay. And what do you need to rent a place? Because a lot of the times you only can rent a place if you, for example, you already have your personal number or you already have a bank account. And you need to keep in mind that to have like a personal number, it requires some time. You need to have proof from your job. You need to have the passport, extra documentation ready. And then it has normally a processing time. And, maybe by time now, digital world is getting better, but it can take maybe even a whole month. It can be that maybe you're struggling to get your first salary, even if you have a job, simply because your bank account is not sorted out, your personal number is not ready, and you only get a bank account once your personal number is sorted out and once you have an official address. So sometimes you have to do some tweaks around and maybe get some help from locals to make sure that you have the address, you have money for the deposit, you have the personal number sorted out, um, and then you have like a job contract confirmation. Then you can kind of get everything almost at once. But sometimes you have a conflicting request, because I remember when I moved here, I needed the personal number and I think I needed the personal number and the address for the bank. But then to be able to get the address, I needed the personal number. So yeah, I had some conflict thing around. And I remember one of my colleagues was kind of helping me with having their address registered or something like that. Um, so it's not always like this. And I guess when you explain them the process, normally to these authorities, they will understand. But I have to say, it's not always super smooth and quick. So prepare maybe 1 month to survive financially in case everything goes wrong and you can't get your first month salary. So think about the rental fee and the first month. So maybe, yeah, I would say come with a good saving for at least 4 months, whichever country you pick, because I would say generally it's quite the same. That's the same in Germany, same in the UK. I don't know how is it in Mauritius, but normally it's good to have a few months of birth of rent and 1 month to survive in case you have to wait for these things to be sorted out, right? What was your experience?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Same, same. Like we had to pay for the apartment. You have to pay a deposit and the first month of rental fee, and also for us, for example, for school, we had a lot of like entry fee and then deposit as well, and the monthly fee. So at the beginning, it was quite a large amount of money. So
Yeah,
it's good to have some savings, and it's good to do a research before that. Maybe it's a good advice if you know somebody there, you can ask how things works. And also I think there are Facebook groups for all the countries now for expats, people who living there.
sure.
So, and then you can just ask in the group, or maybe it was already asked and it's written there, like how to sort out all the paperworks, because the admin, I think it's
Yeah,
everywhere. We can say around the world, it's tough.
yeah, yeah.
So
And
it's nice to have somebody somebody who can help you
yeah,
with it.
and don't be afraid to reach out to strangers. Kind of, I remember I did the same. I lived
Yeah.
in the UK, and I think I messaged to a group that who could help out, like what is best. A lot of people recommended that if you move to Denmark, maybe live in Malmö in Sweden. So there is a bridge in between those two countries, and it's very easy to commute, and it's cheaper to live in Sweden than in Denmark. Taxes are also different. It's also cheaper there than in Denmark. So I remember I reached out to someone who lived in Sweden, and she was helping me a lot, a Hungarian girl. Um, and I didn't know her before. And I think I even tried to connect with another guy who lives in Denmark. He didn't help me. And that can happen. That can happen that you reach out to someone and they will never respond. And that's okay. That's completely fine. Not everyone will have to, they're not everyone is that social or open to help others. But I would say a lot of the time, if you would reach out to random people, most of them would help. So be brave and just ask. You have nothing to lose, really. Yeah. Yes. And then maybe one thing I would say at the end, and I don't know how you feel about it, Moni, but is that true? There is a saying that once you leave your home country, you may never return. And it has a psychology, right? But how you feel about it? Do you think it's could be true? This is your first time you moved.
Yeah, this was our first move, and but it was 1.5 year ago, so it's hard to say what is going to happen. But for example, looking at you moved out and you're not really planning to move back, and for us as well, when we are talking about it, I think the more you spend, the more time you spend abroad, the less you want to move back.
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
and of course it was a big decision that we had to take when we moved here. But like, now I feel I could do another move easier
Mm,
than the first
yeah.
move, because now I know, oh, we did it, we survived it. It was tough, but it's possible. And now I feel okay. I'm open to move to another country, or just, yeah, stay here longer. So I don't feel like, oh, I have to go back, or I want to go back. Of course, I miss a lot of things from Hungary, family, friends, of course.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Because you're almost 10 years you live abroad.
Over 10 actually. But yeah,
Oh,
over
okay.
10. Yeah, it's hard because I never left with the intention never return. And I never even expected to go so quickly because I left almost very, very, very young. I think I just really started to work in Budapest and very quickly I left because of work gave me the opportunity. Um, so yeah, but I think I had curiosity for the world. So I think if anyone has curiosity for the world, it will be very hard to stop. because first I moved to Germany, new things, new people, new type of living. Then I moved to the UK again, and then in the beginning is always tough, but then you start to appreciate the little things, in that particular culture, and you get curious about the culture, and then you learn things why they do things or why they are in a certain way, and you start to see the value in it, in the people and in the place, um, and it kind of just continued. So I just got even more and more curious about the world and to learn even more about other cultures as well. And you start to be more open minded, and you start to be more um, accepting, I would say, and understanding. So I think while when you live in one place, you may think that the way how things happening there is the best way it could be, but when you start to move to different places, it really opens your mind about a lot of things, how life can be and how things could be managed. And I think in general it builds a strong openness in you, like mindset wise, and you become extremely flexible around everything. So it definitely builds you as a person a lot. If I would recommend for the young people, and not for the sake of never returning, I would definitely recommend to travel, see the world, see how other countries live, learn from their culture, and um, each of the nationalities has such uniqueness and its beauty. I think it's so nice, and you start to appreciate life even more, and you start to appreciate the opportunity that you can do that. I think it's amazing that we have this globalization, right? No borders anymore. You really can do anything. You really can go anywhere. It's all on the person, you, how much effort you put into it. But if you put the effort, there is almost no limit, I would say. Go for
Yeah,
it.
it's so true.
Go for it.
Okay, it was a good closure, I think. Thank you, Aggie. And thank you guys for listening to us. I hope you enjoyed it and see you next time.
Ciao, guys.
Bye.